There are people that want to manipulate your mind. It's the whole plot of Inception. And I'll show you how McDonald's did it with I'm Loving It. And the reason I'm explaining this to people is if you see it, it doesn't work. Okay, Inception is a 2010 science fiction action film written and directed by Christopher Nolan. And a lot of his movies have incredible truth drops. You know, like the League of Darkness or whatever. And then Inception it shows you how people warp your mind, how they use emotion and symbol to sell you things, to control you, all that stuff, and what the ultimate weakness of the wizard is. So, Inception is the story of warping reality. As you can see here, this is some of the art from the film, and it shows it shows you the surrealist Salvador Dali type images of the world. And I know a lot of times in my life, I'd look at this and be like, well, that's not reality. Oh, it is. They can make you think the world is something completely different than it is. The warping of the way you see the world is something that these people have done for a long time. Like, look at this. You can see a city, which is a construct in itself, bent. And for those of you that I'll show you some more of these images. You know, how the world can be bent. Here's another image of the world being bent and warped. This is all from the film Inception. This is about the crumbling of the construct. The word inception itself, inception, means the start of an institution. And for those of you thinking, that's insane, no one would ever believe something like that. And I'm not making any claims, but here are two different ways of viewing the world. Okay, so what is the film Inception all about? People go asleep. What makes someone asleep? Entertainment, right? The beta waves and the alpha waves and all your brain chemistry gets lulled to sleep in a hypnotic state, and then they go into your subconscious. And in your subconscious, they can implant emotions. And when you associate an emotion with an object or an emotion with a brand or a song or a da-da-da-da-da, you know what McDonald's did. I'll show you how McDonald's did this. This movie is not fiction. It's not. They can twist and bend the way you view the world, right? And so this movie, DiCaprio's character, is trying to get in the head of that man for giant economic shifts. And so they spend hours and hours and hours trying to figure out how to get in their mind. And here you have a think tank in Inception, where you have just a bunch of men sitting around saying, how do we get in? How do we get into the construct of the human mind and affect it without being noticed? Because in the film, the whole thing is George, all right. The whole thing is they're trying to not be noticed, because if you notice it, it does not work. And the great awakening that's happening right now in the world is changing the way everyone sees everything, because things are being noticed. These wizards in this construct, they go into the subconscious of the human mind after they've been lulled to sleep with MTV or Drake or NWA or the Beatles or whatever it is. And then they start affecting and planting and changing. And it can be the simplest little tiny thing. Like there can be an entire operation, an entire band formed just to plant one idea. Like some people say the band Poison was just to connect that certain type of neon green with disease and poison, because they used the same green with Ebola and Poison Ivy and the Batman series. I know that sounds crazy, but that's how this stuff works. You know, the Golden Arches. Like, how much goes into that? Da-da-da-da-da. I'm loving it. McDonald's had 3 separate pop stars release songs with da-da-da-da-da, I'm loving it, without people knowing, years before they unraveled their marketing. That's classic Inception. Okay, so the surreal images of bent time, bent space, bent reality, they can't actually bend time. They can't actually bend space or reality. They can tell you, and I know this is going to bother people, this is not about globe or flat earth, but just They can tell you a reality that isn't real, and you will start to believe it if they make it young enough. If they start when you're a boy or a little girl, and they make it so repetitive, and they associate it with authority, with science, with religion, with whatever they need to get in your mind, right? And so Inception is all about the world warp. It's all about taking the flat and making it a circle, taking the wizard spell and putting it deep in your mind. It's right there. They're showing you this because they have to show you this, because when you're asleep, to get you asleep, sometimes they have to show you things that are somewhat true to make you just lull. And then once you're there, they go in. And so Leonardo DiCaprio's character, Cobb, he had this little dreidel. And oddly, it looks a lot like a raindrop on a flat plane, right? Anyway, so he would spin it because if it spun for eternity, he knew he was in a dream. This was his jump out. This is his way out. So how does it work? They come up with a plan, and then they go in like a mind virus, right? So now I'm going to play you guys a video that I was sent, and it's very, very good. It's called McDonald's, The Mystery of I'm Loving It. Hodges U. Please don't dig me, Hodges U. I'm promoting you and the information that you give. All right, I'm going to play this, and George is going outside.
We all know the sound. It's been playing for 15 years on countless McDonald's commercials around the world. But who wrote this jingle? That has proven very difficult to answer. Many assumed it was Justin Timberlake and Pharrell Williams, since the slogan was based on one of their songs called I'm Lovin' It. But then in 2016, rapper Pusha T said he was the one responsible. Agency in Germany responsible for the campaign said T had no involvement. They said, quote, "It's fucking ridiculous. It's bullshit."
So McDonald's is in a bad spot. They're going down, right? Their stock price goes down to $8 a share. And so this is the plan they come up with.
Is falling. They needed a miracle ad campaign to turn around their image.
4 straight quarters of declines. What are they going to do?
McDonald's is in a really tough situation right now.
What they do, what the secularist materialists do, what these ba-da-ba-ba-ba guys do, is they take something from God, something with form, something from nature, and they put in gibberish so that you're in a constant state of a fractured heart. The point is to take form and make it nonsense. Okay, so ba-da-da-da, there's something about ba-da-ba-ba-ba. It could be as simple as that's the fractional breakdown of how a ball bounces. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba, or how a stone skips across the lake, or your mother's heart. That's what hooks you. That's what gets them in your subconscious, and then they twist and they bend and why? Power, always power.
These 5 syllables into something musical. So they first called in Butch Stewart, who was a jingle genius, and weeks later, Butch presented to McDonald's corporate.
Whoa, McDonald's has you, man, they're in love. McDonald's is. Let me sing it my way. Yeah, we got a rhythm and it's ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Okay, so the mind virus is ba-da-ba-ba-ba. And so they're trying to put it in as many places as they can. It gets so much crazier.
We got a rhythm and it's ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
After Butch's presentation, McDonald's doesn't like it. They absolutely love it. So much so that they want this to be their very first ever global campaign. And what happens next is kind of like the scene from the movie Inception.
Subconscious is motivated by emotion, right? Not reason. We need to find a way to translate this into an emotional concept.
How do you translate a business strategy into an emotion?
Power. That's it. It's always the same game. It's always about free will. It's a fight over free will. It's a fight over your higher mind. They want to take your ability to think, to process, to understand the world you live in, because if they can take that, they can turn you into a slave. We're all slaves to God. Not man. But man's giving it a shot. All right, let's watch more of this. I'm fired up today. This is some brilliant stuff. This guy.
You're gonna figure out, right?
Enter Pharrell Williams. Their plan is to disguise the slogan in with a catchy pop song and not to reveal the McDonald's connection until much later.
They're trying to make people believe something that isn't real in order to sell them poison. And they're all guilty. Pharrell, it has blood on his hands. McDonald's kills more people than war every year. McDonald's kills more people than any of the diseases that you're being fake vaccinated for as children. McDonald's is a serial killer. That little red-shoed, red-headed clown. And so they hire these people that make the very things that allow people to be tricked. Because no conscious human being would take a McDonald's hamburger and put it inside of them or inside their family. It's poison. So how do they make you do it? Watch.
The song has been released to radio. But in order to make I'm Lovin' It massive, they needed a massive star to sing their manufactured hit. Enter
homosexual Justin Timberlake.
Justin Timberlake. They offered him $6 million to record the track. It goes on his set list during his
This wasn't a McDonald's commercial. It hadn't been revealed yet. This is 2003. That's how far in advance they're trying to subvert your mind. That's the Inception people trying to get into your mind. That's how powerful media is. Repetition. It doesn't work once you see it.
A month later, McDonald's holds a press conference telling the world they're going to use I'm Lovin' It as part of their first global.
Okay, this is years after. They didn't reveal it until years after because the same people who own McDonald's own all the media and own Justin Timberlake and own Pharrell. They're wizards. So it's upside down. You think that Justin Timberlake did it after. They really did it before. They were planting seeds. That's called propaganda, to propagate. To propagate is to plant a seed. Because if you recognize it, it doesn't work. It has to be unseen. It has to be subversion. It has to be, marriage is slavery. The bank is saving your money. The hospital is curing you. The school is teaching your children. It's all upside down. And until you see the upside down, it works like a charm. But as soon as you don't see the upside down, nothing.
Since I don't cook, I'll just rock to the beat. I'm loving it.
Yep, I think that's
Pusha T.
Let's recap. The slogan and signature sound is written by a German ad agency. The campaign was given new life by Butch Stewart and his son. The JT single that went to radio was written by Pharrell Williams. The first global...
And wait till you guys see the real moral of the story that's coming up quick. Nobody was satisfied. Just like the food. You're never satisfied whatsoever by the construct that is McDonald's. It's poisoned food. Just like watch what the very money that was pumped into these people's bank accounts. Check out how it finished for them.
I'm Lovin' It commercial was Pharrell Williams, Justin Timberlake, and Pusha T. So how do Pusha and Justin feel about their deal today? Any regrets?
What you got? What you want?
What, just up front? No publishing?
Just up front.
Oh,
About a half a man. That part. I want artists to know that part.
Yeah.
Keep it publishing, man. I'm Loving It been running for how long? What would it have been?
As for Justin, he said in a GQ article that he, quote, regretted the McDonald's deal. And finally, how does Ronald McDonald feel about the deal?
The only entity that was satisfied was a corpse. A corporation named Ronald McDonald, who's a serial killing clown.
Well, I think he's probably the only one that's still loving it. The stock price in 2003, before I'm Loving It began, was $12. Today,
This is the Inception bounce.
stock price is almost $150. And their slogan has never changed.
But there's a cure. Speak truth. Not only is there a cure, they're holding on by a thread. These people are in a constant state of being in a construct that they don't belong in. And they themselves are staring at their little dreidels. This is from the movie Inception. Because if it wobbles, it means that they're still in reality. And if it doesn't wobble, they're in their own dream state. They can't tell what state they're in.